Hello and welcome to another episode of the Power of Sourcing 2025. I'm Andrew, Head of Marketing at Matcher, and today I will be your host. I'm excited to introduce our today's guest, Vanessa Raath. But before I invite Vanessa on this stage, let me quickly explain about what we do at Matcher. At Matcher, we provide global RPO solutions for scale-ups and global enterprises like Action, Eneco, Miro, Booking.com, and many others. So if you need recruitment or sourcing support, please reach out to us. We'll be happy to help you. And now, without further ado, let me invite Vanessa on this stage. Vanessa, hello.
How's it, Andrew? Good to see you again. How you doing?
I'm great, and we are happy
Excellent.
that you joined us today and bringing your knowledge to our webinar series.
It's an absolute pleasure. As you can see, it's a very hot day here in South Africa. I just got out the pool and I am ready to share my knowledge with everyone.
That's great. That's great. So I will leave you on this stage, and yeah, see you during Q&A.
Excellent. Let me share my screen, make sure that everyone can see it. While we're waiting, if everyone wants to just put in the chat where they're joining us from, it'll be good to see. And hopefully you'll be able to see my slide. Just give me a thumbs up, give me a yes if you can see it, and then we're going to get started. Because today I'm really excited. We've had some phenomenal speakers so far in the Matches series. I must admit that I was saying to Andrew before we went live, there's been some really, really amazing speakers. So well done to everyone who has spoken before myself. There's been a lot of like real sobering stories. And I want to just share a little bit of light and a little bit of what I feel we could be doing better in order to really maintain our positions from the future of talent sourcing. So I see a lot of my friends popping up in the chat. Good to see you. Some people from the US, people from South Africa. So yeah, thanks for being here. So today we're talking about three things. These are your three takeaways, folks. We're going to talk about how do we stay ahead of this whole AI tsunami by looking at things like brand building, community nurturing, and expert networking. So without further ado, let's kind of get started with this. Greetings to everyone in the chat. I'm seeing a lot of my mates popping up. Thanks for your support, guys. Always good to see you here. For those of you who don't know me, my name is Vanessa Raath, and I am currently a global talent sourcing trainer. I'm kind of morphing at the moment into a little more of an AI trainer, to be honest, because I'm doing a lot of research into some wonderful softwares in the world of AI. And the reason why I'm doing this is a lot of my recruiting clients have approached me and been saying things to me like, Van, AI's here. I don't know what to do. I don't know where to get started. And I said, okay, let me go and chat to some of these AI vendors. So I'm testing a lot of softwares. Some of them are really good and they are joining my start.me page. I'm going to share with you at the end of this presentation. And some of them I'm like, this is all right, but I don't love the UI or the UX, or maybe relook at your costing and maybe go back to the drawing board in the nicest possible way. So most people do my talent sourcing through my online academy these days, and I run a lot of AI workshops. So today I actually haven't planned my day very well because it's now 7 o'clock here in South Africa, and I was up at 4 this morning because I started training at 4:30 this morning to Australia. So it's been a long day today. So thank you for joining with me. You're going to keep me like boosted through this presentation. So I do a lot of keynote speaking. I still need to hit Asia as my 6th continent, which I'm hoping to do soonish. I'm traveling again from next month. I'm going to be in Philadelphia. I'm going to be in the UK in April, presenting at conferences and delivering workshops. It's really a part of this role that I thoroughly enjoy, and I love sharing my knowledge with others. So this is where I live. I always like to show photos to people because it is such a beautiful part of South Africa. I'm very proudly South African. I'd love you to all come and visit. This is Plettenberg Bay. It's on the Garden Route. And as you can see, we have some amazing scenery. And it really is a small little town. As I said this morning, most people that live here are actually retired and seem to be far from retired. But I need to start working on that a little bit more. So guys, keep your phone handy. We are going to be giving a few giveaways away during the presentation. So lots of QR codes for you guys to scan. And then let's dive into it. So 3 things today. Remember, I spoke about what are we going to do to stay ahead of this AI tsunami? So number 1, we're looking at today, building your brand. I've been going on about this for years, it seems. I feel like I'm a broken record sometimes. But this is becoming more and more important in a world where there is so much content that is being generated through the use of AI, bad content, bad LinkedIn posts, bad LinkedIn comments, blogs, all of those things. So we have to get better. The second is we're going to look at talking about building a community, which can also be called a talent pool, a talent pipeline, a network, whatever you want to call it. As long as we nurture it, it's a good thing that we need to have. And number 3, it's all about really upping your networking skills. So those of you that I see you in the chat, well done. You're networking, you're getting your name out there. Well done. That's really, really awesome. So let's start with number 1. And guys, I want to see your answers in the chat here. Be honest. If you were to rank your personal brand and give yourself a score out of 10 today, what score would you give yourself? So if you were to rank your personal brand out of 10 or a percentage, what would you give yourself as a score? And the reason for this is that it's really, really important. So we've got someone over here who's given themselves a 9. If you want to actually get better at your brand, have a name up there, not your initials. It's just a little bit of a friendly advice. It's always good so that people know. Now, Nicola, you've been very honest and a little bit harsh on yourself. Ronnie, you can take that 4 and you can throw it in the bin because you have a much better brand than that. Okay. So I really want you to think about it because this is so important in this day and age today. Because this is true. You too are a brand, whether you know it or not. And more importantly, whether you like it or not. And the reason why I want to highlight this is because, you know, we're in the people's business, folks. We're dealing with people. We're in recruitment. We've got clients. We've got candidates. We've got colleagues. We've got people that we speak with all day. I think I'm actually going to run out of my words airtime today because I have spoken so much in between 2 massive presentations, lots of meetings, and every interaction that I've had with people leaves an impression about myself. And that is exactly what's happening to you. Remember, your brand is what people say about you when you leave the room. And would you rather leave people with a positive experience or a little bit of a kind of experience? And these are things that we need to think about. Because I really want to encourage you to be brave enough to stand out from the crowd. And this is one of my photos when I was last in Etosha. Standing out from the crowd like the giraffe is something that is really, really important these days. Because there's so much noise out there. There's so many people, like it feels like LinkedIn's a bit of a bun fight at the moment. Everyone's trying to be noticed. Everyone's trying to put content out there. So how are you standing out? And also, I want you to think about the way that you use LinkedIn, or as you know, let's refer to it by its other name of the Blue Devil. A lot of people are just using LinkedIn like it's a glorified job board. And where, you know, it has its place. Yes, we need it for recruitment. Yes, we need it for talent sourcing. But I really want to encourage you to think about using LinkedIn a little bit more to build your brand. And not just connect with people when you have a role for them, but connect with them because they're good people, they're in your niche, and you want to have them in your network. Yeah, that is a wicked blue devil, Carrie, my friend. That's as generated by ChatGPT, by DALL-E, actually, OpenAI. So what I want you to encourage you guys to do is there's lots of takeaways in today's presentation. You're not going to get away with just sitting back and doing nothing. You have to have posting goals. Now, those of you who connected to me on LinkedIn, you will know that I post at least 3 or 4 times a week. Okay. The reason why I say that is some days I actually wake up and I think, you know what? I've got a really busy day. I'm not going to distract myself by posting on LinkedIn because it means that I actually have quite a busy morning because I need to go and comment on people's comments and get back to them. It's like a conversation. So I don't post. Some days I'm also just like, nah, don't feel like posting today. And that you need to give yourself a little bit of a break around that. But I would really recommend get into a habit of posting 3 times a week. I believe that that is enough to be noticed, but it's also enough not to be going overboard. So I really do encourage you to do that activity, but I also want to remind you about something, because this is what we forget, is that we think that life begins and ends within this little realm of LinkedIn, but my gosh, it doesn't. If you aren't looking at your clients and your candidates on these other platforms, like Googling them, Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, you're missing out. Because how do you send a personalized message to those people if you haven't actually checked out to see what they really like? Because let's face it, everyone's on their best behavior on LinkedIn, right? Look, I know I am. Where on the other platforms, you might find me being a little bit more crazy, doing a little bit more extreme things. So I do encourage you to make sure that your digital footprint is in order, because people will be cross-referencing you across other platforms. So let me give you a couple of tips here about consistent posting, because these are important. Don't ever in the mornings sit down at your laptop and think, oh my word, that crazy person, Vanessa, has actually said to me that I need to post 3 times a week. What am I going to post about today? And by the way, 3 posts, 3 different days, not 3 posts in one day. You confuse the LinkedIn algorithm, which is already quite a confusing thing. So just don't do it. So I want you to think about what you're going to post before you actually post it. So, I mean, old school, look at this sitting on my desk. Post-it notes. I write down ideas. What can I put on my LinkedIn posts? And also make sure that it's coming from you. This is the one place where I say, don't get ChatGPT to write it. All the posts look the same. They all sound the same. So rather write it yourself. It's actually as much better and genuine coming from yourself. Also, you know, growing a brand on LinkedIn is a bit of a team sport. So I really encourage you to get involved in other people's posts. There's some amazing people out there that are posting a lot. Follow the speakers who are being presenting here today. They post great stuff. At the moment, I'm loving Glenn Cathy. He's posting amazing things on AI. So check out his posts. Find your people and go and comment on their posts. And also mix it up. It doesn't have to be boring. I mean, you can have polls, you can have videos, you can have carousels, whatever it is. Carousels are great to build on Canva, really easy. Also, hashtags, keep it to between 3 and 5. And also what a lot of people forget about their LinkedIn posts is they just kind of post something that's a statement. Now, how do you interact with a statement? Well, the answer is that you don't. So what are you trying to achieve from your post? What is your call to action? Ask people for their opinion. Send them somewhere. Ask them to do something. And then really, really important, and this is why it's in orange, you have to be genuine and authentic. LinkedIn's not Facebook, but you can go a little bit more personal, okay? So we don't want to see baby photos or things like that all the time. However, be real, be honest. I think it was last week, Thursday, I just had one of those. I'd had one of those weeks where I was super busy and I was helping a whole lot of people, and people were getting a little bit cranky with me because I was taking a while to get back to them. And I had put up a post saying, I'm rather busy right now, just back off. And you know what? It had the desired effect, and it was my top performing post so far of the month. So again, it's that little personal insight. Show people that everything's not just roses and, sunrises on the beach, as I think some people do think. Life is tough, and we all have tough days. So I really encourage you to use your LinkedIn and think of it like you're telling a story. So I want to share a story with you. Another DALL-E generated image over here, folks. I want to share my story because this is what it's like to be genuine and authentic. And I think a lot of people think, look at Vanessa Raath and wow, she's jet-setting around the world and speaking at conferences. But this was never my plan. This was not in what was predicted for my future by absolutely anyone close to me. This is actually the start of my working career. I'm actually a qualified school teacher. That's what I did. I didn't even have a formal degree. But this was my first job, being a school teacher, teaching at a school in London, where I spent 7 years working as a school teacher. So this was not actually that long ago. We're actually not even going back more than about 20 years. But this is where it started. I think this is where I got my confidence of speaking in front of audiences. Trust me, children can be brutal. They really and truly can. I'd rather actually deliver a conference presentation sometimes to 1,000 people than 30 children. I then decided at the age of 30, I was actually going to, thank you, Aaron, I appreciate that. I decided I was going to go and live in Thailand. Had been in the UK. I'd got my British passport. I wasn't ready to go back to South Africa. Took my teaching and taught people how to scuba dive. Had dreadlocks, which was really awesome. Absolutely loved it. Really enjoyed it. Got bent too many times. And that's why I ended up going to work more in East Africa and taking tours through like the Masai Mara and Serengeti and Kenya and Tanzania. Then what I decided was one morning I sat up and I decided I'm going to go and live back in South Africa. But then my whole family had moved towns. They were all in the city and I kind of fell into recruitment. So now we're going back somewhere around 17 years ago. I went for an interview at a recruitment agency and they said to me, come and be a recruiter. And I said, no, I don't want to be a recruiter. I want to work in adult education. And eventually, after much persuasion and the fact that I was pretty much broke, I had returned back to South Africa with not a lot of money at all, had moved back in with my parents at the age of 31. And I was just like, no, I've got to sort this out. 2 years in agency recruitment, nearly 10 years at this company, working as the internal head of talent acquisition until they sold to a corporate. And I was like, right, I'm not corporate material. To 6 years ago when I opened up my own business. And this is where I was presenting at a conference in Bogota in Colombia last year about talent sourcing. And that is the story that I have shared with you. And I share bits and pieces of the story frequently on LinkedIn. But it's nice for you to see how just being genuine, me opening up a little bit, sharing my stories, you can see the results and the comments coming back in the chat over here. Thanks to everyone. And it was a real pleasure. Thank you for listening to my story. And how that makes me so much more personable. You can form a better connection with me. I really hope. I want to share another feel-good story about what resulted from posting on LinkedIn. In about last year, August, I chatted to a good friend of mine who lives in the Netherlands, and she was really struggling to find employment. And I just said to her, gave a bit of encouragement. I said, you've got to up your LinkedIn posts. Your LinkedIn posts are phenomenal. You're so good at what you do. You get such good traction on your posts. And then suddenly I saw that she had posted that she had got a job. So straight away, I just had to go to her and I say, well done, you've got a new gig. And the wonderful Shamila came back to me and said, thank you. I appreciate you saying that. You inspired me to start doing this. By just posting more on LinkedIn, she had 5 companies contacting her for work. And that is a true story. Literally, that is what happened. And this is what I want to encourage you to do, not because you're looking for a new job, because you want to be standing out as the go-to recruiter in your niche. Also, something else to keep an eye on, take down this web address, your social selling index. It went a bit wonky a couple of weeks ago and it really dipped and now it seems to be back working again. Keep an eye on this. It refreshes once a week. You get it for free. And I really encourage you to go and check it because you can learn a lot from just monitoring this. I look at it quite regularly. Okay, and here, grab your phone, scan the QR code. If you want to make sure that your brand is working for you, that it's on point, I have some free training in my online academy. If you scan the QR code and you sign up for it, you are more than welcome to go and get stuck in. Sure, guys, I know it's winter in a lot of your parts of the world in the Northern Hemisphere, but you actually don't want to know how much I'm sweating right now. It's been proper hot here today. Okay, so let's move on to point number 2. I want to talk about community. And I'm going to ask you another question, which you can put into the chat. I want you to think about it. How many communities do you belong to? Okay, Kerry, the ranking thing again is called your social selling index, and it's telling you how well you are performing on LinkedIn. So it's got those 4 pillars. If you monitor them, it tells them what you need to do to get better at it. So how it works is, we saw the link there. It's linkedin.com/sales/SSR. Make sure you've got LinkedIn open it on an adjacent tab, and you can go and see what your score is. And you've got to aim for about 70. So guys, let's think. How many communities do you belong to? I'm looking at your results coming up in the chat here. Because I think it's actually going to be more than what you realize. Because people actually belong to a lot of communities without actually even sitting back and clocking. Actually, this is a community. So those of you that are sitting and you need to kind of get a little bit of motivation to think about how many communities you actually belong to, this match our group, okay, this is a community. So this is one of the people here that are watching on the webinars, that are here every Thursday night. I mean, on my online academy, Match HR is one of the YouTube channels that I recommend for learning. And we have a little community, which is great because we meet every Thursday night for 10 weeks and we hang out as a community. So think about it. You got a whole lot of different types of groups. And that's the thing, hey, we often don't even realize how many communities we belong to. But there's probably going to be quite a few. But the next thing that I want to actually highlight here is that community is a big thing. I really believe that community is the future of recruitment. So you've got to start thinking as a recruiter or as a talent sourcer, what is your niche? Because it's so much easier to build a community in your niche. And there's 2 ladies actually on the chat today that I can see. There's Faye and Kathy, who I've brought into the community as leaders, and they help me run get-togethers when I go through Johannesburg, and they organize coffees with me. Kathy takes all the photos. They're amazing human beings. So community is not something that you need to do by yourself. It is so hot right now because there are so many people that realize the value of having a community. So your community is often your niche. So the question that I want to ask you, because in your role as a recruiter or talent sourcer, you should be thinking about running a community. So how many communities do you run? And this is something that you really need to think about. So for example, this is a fantastic community in the Netherlands. It's headed up by a couple of ladies, and they all are exceptionally good talent sources. They're really good in the recruitment sector. And all they do is they literally get together for dinner once every second month. Okay, that's it. So you can think about whatever shape or form this takes. This is another community that I belong to. So I'm one of the volunteers that help fill whenever there's a sourcing summit happening. And we will help to set up conferences. We'll be on like the welcome team. I'll obviously MC for him on the online events. But this is actually, if I look at this group of people here, there's some really good friends here. There's Paulina, there's Anna, there's John, there's Samira. Really, really good friends that are made because I volunteer with them. And this is what community is all about. But community from a recruitment talent sourcing perspective is really important. But a lot of people actually don't get started with building a community because they get bogged down with this. Like, where do I host the community? Oh, excellent, Nicola. So Nicola's telling us she's got a talent attraction community of in-house experts in Switzerland. Nicola, if you're ever looking for a speaker, I'd love to come and help you. I love presenting to communities because people want to be there. Some companies, you go and train them, they don't want to be there. They're there because their boss told them to be there. But community presenting is brilliant. And I just want to say to you is don't get bogged down on like the where, the how, all of those kind of things. I run a community, which I'm going to share a QR code for. That's a Facebook group. There's nothing wrong with that. So I want you to really think about your community, because a community is not a page where it's kind of just one-way traffic, people just pushing things to you. A community is really more about engagement than it is about broadcasting. So don't get hung up on where it is. It could even be an in-person community. I want to just repeat that because community is more engagement driven than broadcasting. And as I say, I've given you examples of people here who are in the chat that I have pulled in to help me run my communities. It's also a great way to facilitate peer connections. Highlight people that otherwise don't have a voice. They don't, get onto the stage. So I want to give you a couple of tips now about how you can be consistent with this. So remember that a community is only good as when people give back. So ask questions, encourage people to step out of their comfort zones. Invite them to be in the spotlight. Invite people who are wanting to get onto a speaking circuit to come and give a presentation. Get them to team up with someone for their first presentation. It could just be like a 10-minute opener. It's really exciting to watch people grow. The key thing is, and you'll see this with my group, any of you who are on the Talent Hunters community group, is that I post every single morning and the time is 6 a.m. South African time. Do you know that if I don't post every morning during the week, I have certain people that send me a message and say, hey, where was my first post of the day that I normally read? Or Van, are you right? Because there was no post today. So it's really heartwarming. It's all about having a regular posting schedule. It's kind of like how frequently you post on LinkedIn. So people know where to find you. They know where you're going to turn up. And it's about being consistent. And I learned that from Hang Lee and his Recruiting Brain Food. Every Sunday morning, I know it's going to be in my inbox. Okay, so regular posting. Also, let's talk about quality over quantity. We're not here to spam a community. We all want quality. No one's got time for spam. And also, it's a team effort. So if you saw, I think it was this week even, I put a poll on the group because I wasn't kind of sure about some kind of behavior and some types of posts that people were putting out there. And I asked the community what were their thoughts. And it builds trust because people realize that it's not a dictatorship. Some people don't realize it, but they're living in a dictatorship at the moment. And, we don't want that in a community. Very important, appoint deputies so you can take a break. Okay, so when I left Johannesburg, I left some deputies in charge there so that when I come back through, it's easy for me to organize things. And then the big question is, as a community leader, do you monetize it or not? I don't monetize my community. I do use it to advertise when I'm running workshops and things. But for me, it's not the way that I earn, and I get much more pleasure out of it. So yeah, like things like tonight, it's nice to be here and share with Match HR. And this is the community that I've been referring to. So please, you can come and join us, scan the QR code, and we'd love to see you there. Cool, so that was point number 2. We're not having many questions in the chat, so I'm just going to kind of push forward with this. I'm now watching an amazing sunset out my office window. Pretty cool after seeing the sun rise this morning. So let's look at number 3. Guys, got to be an expert networker in this world. So how many of you have actually noticed who's chatting in the chats, realizing, okay, these people know what they're talking about. The names like Ronnie, Carrie, who've been around for a while, Aaron Lintz. Guys, these are the sources that you should be following. They know their SH1T. They really are amazing. Aaron is one of the favorite people that I follow on LinkedIn because he's always sharing really helpful things. So what I encourage you to do, let's actually do what Hang does in his Recruiting Brain Food. Pop your LinkedIn links into the chat. You're more than welcome to. Connect with people. That's what it's all about. If I was in Switzerland right at the moment, I'd actually be connecting with Nicola and saying, hey, I'd love to join your community. So yeah, this is a good place to do it. Because the problem is that when it comes to networking and connecting, often it happens. Yes, and Catherine. Sorry, Catherine, I forgot that you were on the call. Definitely Catherine. She's based out of the UK. Networking, people start too late. So suddenly, and you know what, things are so unpredictable in this day and age at the moment, folks. Literally, people could be terminated. A lot of people are looking for work at the moment. It's not great out there. Start building your network now. Even if you think that, oh, I'm fine, I've got a great job, I don't need to network with people, I don't need to get my name out there. Seriously, start networking. Because when you need to network, it's often kind of too late. You don't want to start when it's too late. Also, Guys, networking is important, but networking with people that you want to be associated with. So I want to ask this question. When you signed up for Match HR, how many of you went and looked at all of the speakers and thought, oh, I'm definitely, if I'm not going to connect with them because I'm too shy, I'm actually going to go and follow them? Okay. So how many of you did that? Mr. Kathy has joined us. Glenn, I gave you a shout out earlier for people to follow you because your posts at the moment in the AI space are incredible. So remember, and on that note, I really want to highlight two people. This morning, when I logged on, there were two messages in my inbox. Ugne from Lithuania, and I'm sorry if I'm pronouncing your name incorrectly, and Ulawale from Nigeria. Both of them connecting with me saying, I see that you're presenting on the Match HR series tonight. I would like to connect with you beforehand so I can learn a little bit more about you. So shout out to those two individuals for being brave enough to send me a message and wish me good luck for this evening. I really appreciate it. Cool. So guys, networking, some things I want to talk to you about. It really is like Christmas. You got to give first. I want you to really remember this because it's so important. Think about it as like a 5-to-1 ratio. Give 5 things away for free and then maybe ask for something. If that, push it if you can. You know, lead with value. The reason why a lot of these people who are on this call that are commenting that I really love them and I love their posts is that they're always giving away value for free. Okay. So give away value, give advice, give resources. I think it was yesterday, I posted an awesome resource of AI tools for people. And it was so great to just hear people saying, thank you. And you haven't asked for anything in return. And we really appreciate this because I'd much rather help people. And I really think that that's important. We need more kindness in this world. It really is something which us as the people that deal with human beings all day, every day, as talent sources, as recruiters, is that sharing really is caring. Well said, Glenn. Took the words out of my mouth. Because if we can lead by example with what we're doing, we also can uplift our industry. But the two most important things when it comes to networking is, first of all, we're going to start with being authentic, because authenticity is so important these days. There's so much noise out there. There's so many chatbots. Be yourself. I mean, there's no one else out there who's like you are. Be authentic. It really is more important than what you think. And the second thing is, don't be an idiot. So there's a lot of people that are making a lot of noise on platforms like LinkedIn or Facebook, but when you try and connect with them or you try and reach out to them or you send them a message or you try and say, hey, let's just get together for a coffee, I really like your content, you don't hear anything from them. So if you're going to be putting yourself out there, you're going to be authentic, you're going to be genuine, make sure that you follow through when no one else is looking. And by that, I mean in the DMs and in the private messages. Don't give out empty promises, because word does get around and people do talk. Okay, so a big networking tip for you is you can either generate a LinkedIn QR code from the app on your phone, or there's an excellent tool called Linktree where you can go and put all of your links to all of your presence, your digital presence on there, and you can create a QR code with it. It's super easy to create a QR code at the moment. Adobe does it for you for free. It's how I do all of mine. And literally, not as your screensaver perhaps, but under your favorites and your photos and your phone. Then when you meet someone, either at a conference, I mean, I do this in the queue at the supermarket, at the shops, but I know that's probably a bit extreme. Just get people to scan your code, and then they can connect with you wherever they are comfortable with it. So that's a big networking trick. Also, you've got to think about what makes you memorable. So I'm going to highlight a couple of speakers over here. So what makes you memorable? First of all, I don't know if you know this crazy raccoon. This is Gabby presenting at a recent conference sourcing summit. Her signature is her shoes. She always has the craziest Nikes that are her shoes. If I put this face up here, I know a lot of you are going to know who it is. This is Mark Tortorici. He will always be associated with music. He often does a song of sorts at a conference. He's often the one to go and like track down a piano. He'll be singing. Really amazing guy and a really talented artist. That's what makes him memorable. What I do is whenever I leave the country, these are very African. You can see I'm actually wearing some today. I lost a whole lot on the sea the other day, so I've only got a few. And as I go out of the airport in South Africa, I pick up a load of these. And what I do is I hand them out as gifts to people that I meet at conferences, people that I've really connected with, conference organizers. They really are, they really make cool gifts. And I'm sure that there's a couple of people that are on this call that have been recipients of these. The nice thing about it is they actually all link to charities here in South Africa. So whenever you buy them, you actually donate to a charity and it comes with a whole story. And they really are a good idea. Okay, so think about it. What is it that makes you memorable? So to be a consistent networker, here's your takeaways. Here's your goals. And thanks for the comments in the chat, ladies. I appreciate it. Oh, Ronnie, excellent. You've got to have some networking goals. You can't just kind of go into a networking event blind. Like even something like this today, that's online. Like surely you want to come away with a few new connections. You can see people are chatting in the chats. You can see where people are coming from. Connect with them. Just say hello. So have some goals. Like, is there someone who's going to be at the conference? I'm going to give you an example here. When I went to my first SourceCon, Sean Miller, who'd actually been in South Africa on holiday, said to me, you have to go and find Aaron Lintz and you have to go and ask him to teach you a little bit about data scraping and web scraping. And I did. I actually connected with him before the conference event and said, hello, Aaron. I didn't know anyone from Bar Soap. I'd really like to talk to you about doing some scraping. And he was brilliant. We sat down, we did some scraping exercises. It was really cool. You just need to get over yourself and approach people. Sure, I didn't get my animations right on that slide, did I? So guys, you've got to be noticed. So those of you who are commenting in the chats and all of those things, they're getting noticed, okay? Also, when you're sitting in a conference, it's about body language. My last big presentation that I gave in Amsterdam, there was someone who I was actually chuckling at, as a fellow speaker, who sat the whole time I was presenting with their cell phone in front of their face and on their phone. And I just thought, well, that just sent such a clear message. So you've got to watch your body language because people are watching your body language. It's also about sharing. You know, you guys are all here and you've joined this chat and you're all learning, but did you share it with your team? You know, tomorrow morning, if you're having a team meeting, or later today, if you're in the States, you know, is there one thing that you can take away from our presentation that you can share with your team? Because sharing, again, is caring, but it also elevates your position to share with others because people will gravitate to you and they'll ask you questions. Also, guys, one thing I've learned in business and working as a solopreneur, and there's lots of people on this call who actually do training, is that there really is more than enough work for all of us. You know, you don't have to compete with everyone. I encourage you to celebrate everyone's achievements, you know, stay in your lane. There's no need to get nasty about anything. And also, I really encourage you, you know, networking doesn't have to end after we all jump off this webinar. I'm going to go jump back in the pool because it's super warm, but keep the conversations going. Like set up a virtual coffee with someone, you know, just connect. Just, you never know what people are going through. It's always great just to catch up with people. And then just to recap, so that we're going to finish off here. Look at this. I'm going to be like 40 minutes on the dot. I don't think I've ever done that before. Just to recap, what have we covered today? So first thing, your brand. Only you can build your brand. Don't pay someone else to post on LinkedIn on your behalf, okay? Community nurturing. I really want you to work hard at nurturing in your niche that you are recruiting in, your talent sourcing, and really just focus on those people because those are the people that you're going to be placing in roles. Get your silver medalists and your gold medalists to come and join your community. Add value to wherever that community is. And also expert networking. And literally just get over yourself. I always say to myself, if I'm nervous to go and approach someone, is everyone wakes up in the morning and they put their socks on before their shoes. And literally, we all are just human beings at the end of the day. And it's really important that we just realize that. So this is what I wanted to share with you. As mentioned at the beginning of my talk, I'm trying to meet with as many AI vendors as possible. If I can't break their tool, if I think it's really great, if I think it's well priced for everyone, yes, even us in Africa, I added to this list over here. I actually started this list last year because it was something that I was like, yo, I'm doing so much in the AI space and using so many tools, but I keep on forgetting which one is which and how do I use it. And then I just thought, I actually showed it to someone and they're like, why haven't you shared this with everyone? I was like, do you think people would be interested in a list like this? And they were like, yeah, definitely share it. So it's out there, it's for free, bookmark it. I'm adding to it every day pretty much at the moment. And yeah, just enjoy it, learn, don't be afraid, don't play with AI. It's going to make our lives a lot easier. It's going to assist us to be way better at what we do. I still do not believe it's going to 100% replace all of us, especially the good recruiters out there. And there's a lot of them. And that, folks, is it from me. Over and out. I am looking forward to watching this replay. I always try and watch these replays these days and see where I can improve. I do want to thank everyone who's been here. Thank everyone in the chat. You guys are amazing. You've kept me going after my very long day with my starting training at 4:30 this morning to Australia, which was also a lovely group. And yeah, it's been a fantastic day. So thank you very much for your time. Please connect with me on LinkedIn, pop me an email. You are also welcome to add me on WhatsApp, whatever is easier for you. And I look forward to hearing from you. Those of you in Joburg, I'm passing through next month on my way to Philadelphia. So yeah, I look forward to seeing you. Sure. If the biggest,
Vanessa,
just get over yourself. Love it.
Vanessa, thanks a lot for your presentation. It was really great. So many insights. If you have a couple of minutes, I would love to ask question and
Sure.
maybe someone from the chat
Good.
will ask
Happy.
questions. So while we're waiting, the question is, you mentioned about posting regularly on LinkedIn and other social media. This is really important, but what holding back many of us in this is, this feeling that we don't have something to share. So when I talk to people and we are talking about this posting thing, I hear, oh, I don't know what to share. My life is just life. I don't know what my story is not interesting like stories of that people who are sharing. How to overcome this?
Good question, Angie. That's a really good question. I get it in my training all the time. And you know what I think it is? I think we've actually, and again, we've got to get over ourselves, but also we underestimate how much as recruiters and talent sources we deal with on a day-to-day basis. So, there's so many different things that happen. You meet so many different people. You get so many different markets insights. You maybe go and discover a new tool or something that you want to share. You learn something new from a candidate. For example, I shared with you my story of, this is my career. This is what it's been. That I can make into 20 LinkedIn posts, break it up into small bite-sized pieces. For me, the posts that always do well are the ones where I'm being the most honest and authentic, and the ones where I am sharing something that's going to add value to people. And those are the posts that I strive to do as often as possible.
Yeah, it's great. And regarding tools that you use for posting, you mentioned this cross-platform posting. Do you use any publishing platforms, or do you do everything manually?
No, you know what? I'm old school with that. I do everything organic and manually. When I post on, for example, a Facebook, I'm normally going to go through Instagram, and I only normally do that. I mean, let's face it, my weeks are pretty boring. I'm in these four walls. This is my office. It's a great office, but there's not much to post every day. But we get out and do a lot on the weekend. So I'm going to post on those platforms more on a weekend, and on LinkedIn, I don't generate those using AI at all. What I do is I will always think of something that I'm going to post. Normally, while I try and walk every morning for an hour, and while I'm walking, I'm literally planning my LinkedIn post every morning. So there are tools you can use, but to be honest with you, it's not something that I've ever automated. I just find that it's just better if it comes naturally.
Mm-hmm. And I must ask this question. In the opening session of the Power of Sourcing, Balash, I think you attended this
Yes, I watched
session.
it afterwards. I couldn't make it on the
Yeah.
day.
So
Yeah.
so the question is sourcing dead or what?
Good question, Andrew. I think sourcing's changing. I think recruitment's changing. I think every industry out there in the world is changing. I think we don't know how it's going to change. We don't see the end of the story. We're kind of living through it at the moment, and it's only the early stages. So for me, I'm going to try and control what I can control. Can you tell I've been reading the Mel Robbins Let Them book? So
Mm,
control what you can control in order
mm,
to be able to impact what you're doing. And the three things that I have given people today are everything that I can control. So I can work on my own brand, I can build a brand, I can keep building a community, I can help people, I can nurture that community. And I can still work on being an expert networker because that's always something that happens between human beings. When it comes to sourcing, yeah, sure, there's tools out there that can do sourcing for us. Do I trust them 100% yet? Definitely not. Do I always feel there's going to be a human intervention? Absolutely. Are
mm.
we going to need as many recruiters and talent sources? No, probably not. But there's a lot of really lazy recruiters and talent sources out there who are just glorified CV shufflers. They must go. The people that have worked hard on a brand and have a community. I foresee the future of recruitment where, internal teams are either going to have to really focus on building their own communities, or what they're going to do is they are going to be working with agencies who have their community. And the reason why they're going to the agency is because they have their community and they have the network, and that's what people are going to pay for.
Yeah. Yeah. Vanessa, thanks for joining our session. Thanks for sharing your insights.
My
For
pleasure. Thank you
everyone,
very much,
for
Andrew.
every for everyone watching us next week, please join us on Thursday. As always, we'll have as a guest Anastasia Pshegotskaya, Director of Talent Acquisition at Remote, and she'll be sharing strategies to attract and hire top talent from all the world in a competitive landscape. I believe this will be a great session.
Sure, girl power,
Uh,
Andrew. You had a powerhouse of Ella, who I see has just popped up. How's it, Ella? Nice to see you, my friend. Female
yeah,
tonight and a
Allah is
female next
here.
week. Brilliant. Well done. Well done. I'm liking seeing all these women on stage. Good job, guys.
Bye bye.
See you soon. Thank you, Andrew. Thanks,
Bye bye.
everyone.